All right. Welcome, mamas. It has been a minute since I have podcasted. I just figured out how to connect my podcast to YouTube, and my mind is just going crazy with all these things I want to share with you guys. So I definitely have to start off by saying Happy New Year. It's the beginning of 2024, and I am all alone in my closet. It's kind of nice, kind of messy, but kind of nice to be alone and be quiet. Ben has the boys at basketball practice, so I have a small window to share with you what I want to share. Basically, the beginning of every year, I try to ask God for a new word for the year to focus on, and I love to do that. It's not something that is, something that I really have to do or feel like I need to do, but it just kind of centers my heart around the year and what I want to be focused on. And so this year was a little different than how it is most of the time. So let me give you a little backstory. Usually when I ask God for a word for the next year, it starts off in December of the year before, and then I have a nice clear schedule. I usually have the day off and the boys are at school, or just like really intentional about, okay, I'm going to sit down and ask God for this word. And then it's awesome because he blows my mind. He always delivers. Whatever word he gives me, he'll confirm it 2 or 3 more times in scripture and other resources. It's always really crazy. And I've just come to get excited about that and have that level of expectancy. And so it was getting like late, the end of December, and I'm like, gosh, God, I haven't asked you for this word yet. I was driving home from work. And as soon as I said, what should my word be? Immediately the word pursuit came to my mind, and I was like, that was weird. Like, to be sure that's not the word, because I haven't sit down and done my whole thing that I do. And plus I was like not really feeling that word because, to be honest, that word sounds tiring to me, like pursuit and like going and striving and like relentless and just hot pursuit. That's just what I think of. And so I was kind of like, nah, that can't be my word. And so I kind of put it in the back of my mind, and just every time I thought of it since then, it was like, no, it's pursuit. It's pursuit. And the crazy thing is that I saw a quote just a few days ago, and I made a post about it on Facebook and shared it with friends and family. It was by Tim Keller, and I wrote it down in my journal. If you're not journaling, get a book. Journal. It definitely is awesome looking back and seeing how faithful God is. But the quote was by Tim Keller, and it said, "The only person who dares wake up a king at 3 a.m. for a glass of water is a child." We have that kind of access. And when I read that, y'all, God just stopped me. I mean, it was like, that's the kind of pursuit that he's been wanting me to have. Not this like be more, do more, try harder, make it difficult, because girl, I can make something difficult. I can take the simplest thing and like take it to the nth degree and make it hard, even though it's really easy. And God was like, no, pursue me like a child. You have that kind of access. Number 1, that's the kind of faith he wants us to have. Number 2, and 3, it's easy. Like, never once have any of my 3 boys seemed to be put out by coming to me all the time when they need something or when they want something. Or Trent's thing lately is, can I tell you something? Mommy, can I tell you something? And I'm always saying, yes, please tell me, yes. But it's never, mommy, it's always, mommy, can I tell you something? And it made me think, like, that is what God wants from me. Because my kids will walk right past their daddy and find me, even though he was sitting right there with them doing absolutely nothing. And it makes me laugh. It kind of annoys me, if I'm not being honest. But it makes me laugh because I'm like, you just care what I think. You just want to share it with me. You just want my opinion that much. Even tonight, as I'm sitting here doing this, which I was excited about, but Ben took the boys to basketball practice, and my oldest is like, Mommy, I really want you to take us. I want you to go. And just the fact that they act like their world is shook when I'm gone for 30 minutes to an hour from their presence, it is comical to me. It makes me chuckle inside because they act like I'm never coming back, or they act like being with their daddy is like second rate, which is kind of funny because we all know that boys and girls love their moms when they're little and they grow up and then they have that dad phase, and then before you know it, they're out the house. So anyway, just the fact that God was showing me, like, come to me like a child, have childlike faith. Don't make it hard. Don't make it complex. Just make it about me and you. Make it about our relationship and wanting to know me. And so when I did that, and when I read about the word pursuit, I was like, gosh, I have really done a number on this and made it harder than it had to be. And the funny thing is, when I Googled the word pursuit and found like the definition of it and everything, and like being intentional and being purposeful and just that like hot pursuit like we talked about, it was the world's definition of pursuit. And then when I went to Bible Gateway and put pursuit in the search engine, the very first verse that popped up was not even having the word pursuit in it. You know what it was? It was chapter 2 of Proverbs about wisdom, and pursuing wisdom is what the topic of chapter 2 was. But every other verse after that talked about pursuing another person, having like that tenacity and going after in hot pursuit. And I was just like, gosh, that is crazy, because in that verse in chapter 2 of Proverbs, it talks about that when you want to know God better, you know his word and you seek him for wisdom. He's the one that gives you wisdom. And so just being able to take that in and knowing that I'm going to be able to see him better as I ask him for wisdom, as I ask him to reveal himself to me in his word, that's that pursuit. That's that can't get enough of you, falling in love with you, wanting to spend time with you. I was sharing with Ben recently something I read that said, no love starts as desire and love when it's something that you don't really find yourself eager to do. It starts as a discipline, and then as you do it, you start to fall in love with it. You start to enjoy that expectation and that deepening of whatever it is. Like working out, I'm not ever like waking up at 5 a.m. like, yes, sign me up for that. But as you get up early and you start moving your body, you're like, man, I feel good. I want to do this some more. Same thing in the word. It's like, I'm waking up, I'm putting this time aside, and I'm going to seek God and seek his will for my life. And then it's like, man, that was good, God. Show me more. What is it that you want me to know? And even for me, just having the awareness to not feel like I have to have an aha moment every time I read the word, but just be in God's presence and just want to spend time with him, free of distraction. And even the little things, even driving in my car, just the talking that I do a lot of times with God and just asking him to lead me or put people on my heart, things like that. So I wanted to share that word with you because, number one, it was fresh, and I thought it would resonate with a lot of you because as a mama, I'm tired. I'm not trying to add one more thing to my plate. And it's kind of funny that that leads me into my next topic, because this February, through our church locally, I'm going to lead a small group. And because that group is already filling up so fast and the cutoff hasn't even, like the opening frame hasn't even started yet, let alone the cutoff, I'm going to do a virtual group as well. And so it'll be on Sunday nights, but I've got so many things in this room. Y'all can see behind me, this is my closet, and it is legit crazy. And I feel like I'm at a baby shower or like a bridal shower where they do that game where you're like, hey, check your pocketbook if you have a safety pin in there or scissors or like all these random things. I probably have it in my closet like most people, like grandmas, would have in their pocketbook. So somewhere buried beneath this stuff. Oh, I also got the Bible recap, which I was going to share with you guys too. Okay, yes. This is the one that we're going to do. It's called Matchless, The Life and Love of Jesus. And this is by Angie Smith. And last year, through a small group, we did her first one called Seamless, which is understanding the Bible as one complete story. I highly recommend this study. She's really funny anyway and just very entertaining, but also like knows the word and shares it in such an understandable type of way. So I'm excited about this. It's an 8-week study. We are going to do it virtually on Sunday nights from probably 6:30 to 8 is my goal. It'll be an 8-week study, so I'll get back to you on the details of that. But if you're interested in it, please send me an email and let me know. You can get this off Amazon for about $16. And it's going to be so good. I'm excited. So that's what I wanted to share, because even though pursuing God takes time, you get that time back in peace and joy and centering in your life instead of running around like a crazy person. I was actually talking to another mama today and inviting her, and she was telling me all the things she had going on, and I was like, I get it. You're stressing me out, and I'm just listening to you. I don't even have to do all that, and I can feel the pressure that you feel right now. But I wish I could share the peace that she would know in the midst of that by seeking God and joining us, because that little amount of time, even if you don't do the study, even if you just show up and listen and just want to be a part of it and have community, it will do so much for your spirit. And just learning how to talk to God and trust Him and hearing other people's testimonies about what they're going through. God has a way of speaking to me every single time. And I go in there thinking, oh, I got to have this ready and share this. And honestly, God just takes it away and does the work. And people are talking and growing and sharing. And it's more like I'm a mediator than actually doing anything. And I just encourage you, if you've never done a Bible study, this one is specifically good because it can be for new believers too. And it's talking about how Jesus loved us and kind of giving a big picture story of His life and His love for us. So please join me. Please join me. You won't regret it. I'm looking at all these other studies down here, some other options that I'm going to be doing. I've done 2 days of this. This just came this week. This is the Bible recap. I don't know if you've heard of it. Tara Lee Cobble put this out. It's basically reading the Bible in 1 year. And this book goes in tandem with the scriptures. She does it chronologically and does like a little recap at the end, so you can really understand what's going on in the time period and kind of the context behind it, because it can be overwhelming sometimes, especially that Old Testament. I was looking at my Bible and I was looking at all the highlighted verses in the New Testament, and I have a verse mapping Bible. I think this is NIV. Yeah, this is put out by Zondervan. And in the sides of all this Bible, it has these margins where you can write notes and you can highlight and just break it down. My New Testament is like jumping, right? And then you get over here in the Old Testament, it's like, okay, Lynn, you spent some time in the Old Testament. So I say that because this Bible is very cool that I can go back and see the different things that God was showing me right then as I was reading it, because when I have a journal next to it, I don't have a clue where that journal ends up sometimes. And then I'm reading the same verse again, and I don't necessarily have any idea of maybe the last time God shared it with me. But in this one, I can write the dates. I have a little spot for notes and stuff. And the really cool thing also is the verse mapping part, which is why it's called a verse mapping Bible. So, for instance, like certain pages, every so often, it has like you can see this, kind of like a green tab section where you can break down a verse, and sometimes it chooses the verse for you, sometimes it lets you choose the verse. It has a spot where you can look up different translations just to get different ideas of how it hits differently. And so it's been a really good resource. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm planning on lots of great things. I'm excited. I just wanted you guys to know about it because there's big things that are ahead this year. It's a brand new year. It always feels like, fresh start, right? Kind of like this closet needs a fresh start, but I definitely have a pile of things higher than my head right here beside me. So I'm going to tackle that, and maybe it'll look a little different the next time we get together. But I thank you for listening, and I hope that you'll look at the YouTube channel if you're listening to the podcast. If you're watching the YouTube channel, this is for real what I look like. I think it was a couple days ago, I was kind of revamping the thumbnail on the podcast, and I mistakenly asked my husband for advice, like, hey, what do you think of this? And of course it was a picture that actually I took time to put makeup on and look nice for the camera, and he's like, honestly, I just like you kind of like right now, like natural. And I'm like, you mean hoodie and no makeup and crazy? And he's like, yeah, And so I'm like, you're no help at all. But this is for real. I'm going to show up this way. This is how I normally look. Because if I don't, there's too many things I let get in the way. If I had to clean this room first or get myself ready, I'm missing the opportunity to step in here and speak truth. And so I just encourage you in the same way. Like, don't hold back. Whatever God is telling you to share, show up and share. Just be available. Be unhurried. That's another thing that our family is kind of going for this year. Because if you were a fly on the wall when it's time to get ready for school, you might be a traumatized fly. Because last year we would just, when we wake up, it was feet hit the floor and you're going, and let's get to school on time and not be tardy. And this January has been so much better. We actually have been getting up earlier and easing into the day. You would think it was like an aha moment for us, but all of us are pretty much night owls. So we've done better with that too. We bribed the boys. Hey, everybody gets in bed at 8 o'clock for the next 7 days. We'll have a surprise for you. So we'll see what surprise that is. They have to do it first. They've been doing pretty good. But anyway, I'm so glad you guys are here. And I hope you'll share this episode with somebody that needs it and that you're encouraged. And I just thank you guys. I thank you for letting me speak into your life. And I just pray that you would grow closer in faith with Jesus and knowing his peace and his presence in your day to day. And just keep your head up and keep your heart humble and share that good news. I'll see you next time.